everybody. This is Brian Delaney with Bandera.com. I am here with the Cranberry Merchants. They are the Indie Pop Video Contest winners. And so we're going to go into some questions. We're going to ask them a little bit about their band. We're going to ask them a little bit about, the video and everything. And they're going to tell us everything that we need to know about them. So be prepared. All right. So we are here with, and we're going to have you introduce yourself. And if you would start on the left, go ahead.
I'm Steve.
All right, Steve and
Diane.
Steve and Diane. So this will be really easy. I'll have 4 or 5 people to try to keep straight. So 2 people and Steve and Diane will be very easy for me to keep straight. So you 2 were the Indie Pop Video Contest winners. So what you did was you just went on. So you just went onto the site, and it was pretty simple. You uploaded your video that you wanted to see. People went to it and clicked on it if they liked it, and you guys won. So great job, guys. Congratulations. And I bet you're excited to tell everybody about it. So we'll get in.
We appreciate all the fans that voted.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Steve, we're going to ask you in this video. See, I haven't seen it because I believe you asked me to review it. And so just like Cambridge, whenever I interviewed them, I hadn't got to see their video because I'm so backlogged on videos to review that I hadn't got to review theirs yet. So sorry, Cambridge. And so Steve, if you would tell us what instruments in this video that you played.
In this video, I am on guitar and I'm on vocals.
Okay. And Diane, what instruments do you play in this video?
I'm doing the drum programming in this one. They're actually just the 2 instruments, just guitar and drum programming and Steve's vocal.
Okay. So in this video, you're playing these different instruments, but on your other music and other songs, do you also play other instruments, Steve?
Well, I do usually guitar and bass, and if Diane needs any kind of help with percussion or maybe like a little keyboard,
okay,
I'm not as good at that as she is.
Okay, Diane, is percussion and programming your main?
Yeah, I do most of the drums, percussion, programming, but also any keyboard work.
Okay, keyboards too. Fantastic. So,
bit of vocals.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Cranberry Merchants. Why don't you give me some insight on where did this name come from? How did you come up with Cranberry Merchants?
The name of the band comes from my late father. He was a very colorful character. He had a bunch of catchphrases that were all his own. My favorite one is if he were listening to a politician on TV or somebody were lying really big to his face, his big catchphrase was, "He has more BS than a cranberry merchant." And I'm like, band name.
Well, the good thing about that story is I was really hoping you weren't going to tell me that you were Cranberry Merchants. Because
No, we don't really sell cranberries.
that'd be a terrible story.
Drink it, don't sell it.
So I like that one much better than you telling me. All right. So how long have you been together?
Well, we have been married for 27 years.
Wow, married 27 years. Okay.
Yeah, and we've known each other for guess close to 30 years now.
Yeah.
30 years.
We met in college. We went to a school here called the Art Institute of Atlanta.
Okay, yeah, I know that's
They had a music business program, and so we started out as classmates.
Wow. Okay. So you both went to the Art Institute, right?
Right.
And you were both in music business together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And do you do music business, or was that just?
Well, yeah. I mean, everything that we're doing, whether it's the music itself or the publishing, the promoting, the copyright.
Work in social media.
Yeah, I mean, we do all of it ourselves.
Okay. But besides yourselves, you don't do this as a profession outside
No.
of.
No,
Okay.
only for ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, if anybody needs somebody with a music business degree that wants to help them out, Steve and Diane, right?
Maybe.
Hey. You never know. So where did you meet? I mean, at the Atlanta Institute in a class? or did you meet like outside in the quad or whatever, something like?
We were in homeroom together. Yeah, so we were actually in. It was first thing in the morning we would see each other.
Okay, so how'd the magic happen? Come on, tell us.
Well, I would say, I mean, we knew each other for a little while as classmates, but I think when we kind of started getting closer was we were working on a video project together.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It was a video editing project.
Yeah.
And he was my partner for the editing. So we spent a lot of hours in the video suite together and, just kind of got to know each other.
Yeah.
So video editing is also something that you can do if people need any help, right?
Exactly. And we edit all of our own videos too and shoot them and do the whole thing.
Okay. Let's see. Awesome. We opened that question up a good bit. So what are your influences? We're going to ask individually and then possibly as a band, if that makes any sense. Is that good? Is that a good question? All right. So go ahead. What are your individual influences?
For me, I would have to say I came up in the late 70s, early 80s as a teenager and was listening to a lot of classic rock. So I would have to say the big classic rock groups of the day, like Led Zeppelin, The Who, Rolling Stones, The Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, Aerosmith, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Okay. Diane?
I'm a little bit younger than Steve. I was a teenager mostly in the mid 80s. So I grew up listening to a lot of the new wave stuff, like Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, and also a lot of the 80s heavy metal, like Def Leppard and Bon Jovi, that kind of stuff.
New wave heavy metal, like some Iron Maiden or anything like that?
A little bit. My older brother was actually more into the real heavy metal stuff, so I kind of learned that through osmosis coming through the wall.
I got it. Huge Iron Maiden fan. That's why I was curious. I used to sit there and listen to Duran Duran. This is back in the day whenever you had a stereo that was about 4.5 feet tall with speakers about 3.5 feet tall, and you just sit there with some headphones or just let the speakers blare into your face. Yeah, those were the days. Okay, so as a band and the music that you're trying to put together, there's a lot of times that you wouldn't want to say these are my band influences, but you a lot of times you shape your sound around something that you're connected to. So what would that be?
Well, pretty much going from my classic rock influences and her new wave influences, our sound basically comes from meeting in the middle.
Okay. And we'll get into that question. I don't want to get ahead of myself with a question. I was just about to ask you, but so with that, did you have anything to add with that, Diane? I'm sorry.
Well, we've had a lot of bands that we had in common when we first met too. Like Foreigner has always been a favorite band for both of us.
Right.
Or Heart also.
Yeah.
And those are both bands that do kind of mix that rock sound with that synth sound.
Right.
And so, that I think that's one reason that we kind of both related to those bands.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Agreed.
That's a good answer. So as a band, we may even do this individually. Is there any, like me, I don't like rap very much. I will, if anybody sends it to me, and I will be critical and analyze it to the theoretical musical, like I do on everybody's review. I try to, analyze the sounds and the music. I'm never going to sit there and say, I hate that, it's terrible. But my personal preferences, I would not go out and listen to rap music or country music. So is there something like that you try to kind of stray your sound away from or just don't generally like that?
We don't stray our sound away from anything. There are some genres we're not really familiar with where I couldn't see us writing. Like I couldn't see us doing a hip hop track, but we haven't really messed with it either.
Yeah.
We haven't written an opera track, but we haven't messed with it either. So I don't know.
I'd rather do opera.
So
I don't know if this will work to do it now.
It's been done by rock bands before. Somebody like Queensryche or
Anthrax has done rap songs. right?
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite musician? In the instruments that you play. We'll start there first, and then let's try to go to outside of your instrument. Is there any, influential or a musician that you really like? Like I like Billy Sheehan that plays bass, and I'm not a bass player, for instance. So, so go ahead, Steve. What's tell?
I would say for that, I mean, hands down, my favorite musician within my instrument, the scope of my instrument, would definitely be Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
Probably if I had to pick one that's sort of outside of what I do, wow. That's a really tough call. I guess somebody maybe like she's got me listening to Duran Duran, and I've got to be a big fan of the keyboard player Nick Rhodes. Yeah. He's not really a keyboardist per se. He's more there to add texture or nuances. Not really. That wasn't something I used to listen for in a lot of songs, but it's like when you think about the little pieces, where does this and that come from? I love little nuts and bolts like that. So for me, that would probably be my answer.
I mean, that's a good answer, because a lot of times people think that you have to play the entire time. And if you listen to the Police and you listen to Andy Summers is a wonderful guitar player. It's because he knows when not to play. And I think that's sometimes more important than knowing when to play. Diane, why don't you tell me about some influences that you have?
Well, I mean, Duran Duran was always a very big influence. I think, I do a lot of the lyrics for our songs. So lyrically, Simon Le Bon was always a very big influence on me. I always kind of liked the kind of imagery that he was able to create without, making a lot of just cliche kind of statements. I think, as far as drums, I mean, I've always looked up to a lot of the classic drummers. I mean, somebody like Neil Peart is amazing. I could never play like he does, but I can certainly look up to him and appreciate the genius he is. As far as other drummers, though, I mean, there's actually a lot of just kind of like percussionists, not necessarily regular drummers, but say somebody like Sheila E. that knows how to add a lot of textures and a lot of layers to music. So I've always been influenced by that, because a lot of the percussion that I write isn't really something that one drummer can play all at once. In a live show, it takes several musicians to actually put all of it together. Right.
I'm with you. That's how I do when I program. I've actually programmed drums and had a friend of mine that's a drummer said, a person can't really play this, don't you? I said, I'm not trying to make a person play it. I just want to make it sound good.
Exactly.
So your writing process, do you write lyrics first? Do you write music first? Is it Steve, you do the music, Diane, you do the words? I mean, let's just tell me how you go through putting a song together, the general way that you do it. I know it's going to be different from time to time, but in general, how do y'all do your music? How do you put it together?
Well, you just kind of answered it right there. It's different from each. It's different from each song. There are some things where I will write the bulk of it, and I get so far, and there are all kinds of gaps in it, and I will throw it in Diane's lap and say, "Can you help me iron out the kinks to this?" Or sometimes she'll do it back. Sometimes I'll have a guitar riff that goes for 4 minutes, and she writes a bass part under it. Vice versa. We've never been the type where she has like notebooks full of lyrics and let's try to put music under each one of these, or vice versa. It's like I have all these songs are like 4-minute chunks. Can you put put some lyrics on top of each one of these in turn? Each thing that comes at us differently, we just kind of take it bit by bit and try to piece something together that flows as best we can.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that we come up with is just, we start jamming on something.
That's best way to do it.
A song that we're working on now, it just started from a drum beat I was playing. In fact, if you see these behind me, these electronic drums, these are great for writing, because you can come up with all kinds of different sounds, on these drum pads. And I just, started playing a groove, and, Steve will start messing with the guitar and playing with effects, and, and something will grow out of that.
Well, that's good. That's good. So it's kind of organic. Is that how you?
Very much so, yeah.
Okay, so you just plant it and just see what grows, right?
There you
Exactly.
Hey, don't quote me on that. Okay, so did any of you guys take lessons? Did you, anything outside before you really kind of started coming together? Did hey, I took guitar lessons as a kid, or I took drum lessons, or my uncle was a drummer, or I grew up in choral in church. Give me some background about maybe some of your how you got into your instrument stuff.
My friend Mark was an amazing guitarist. He still is an amazing guitarist. He had got me into the instrument. I had taken lessons for about a year, but I mean, they didn't really do anything except show me how to play scales. And when I figured out you sell scale books over there, I'll just buy those, see ya, and do it myself. And Mark had got me into all the music of the day. My brother John had all the big albums of the day. And between those two things, that's kind of how I came into it.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I have never taken any formal music lessons. In terms of singing, it's like, well, I did a little church choir kind of stuff when I was a kid. But I used to love watching drummers, whether it was on TV or live. I was always just fascinated watching them. And, when I was maybe about in middle school, I had gotten a hold of a pair of drumsticks and would just start beating on anything and everything. I mean, my parents got mad because I was always beating on the furniture and, just tapping out beats and stuff. But after a while, I'd try and just play along with a record, even if it was just on a chair or something like that, and found that I think I can do this. It just kind of came naturally. So, I just was kind of self-taught after that.
That's great. That's a good story. That's a good story. So is there any new material that you're working on? Any new videos, any new songs you're trying to put together?
Yeah, matter of fact, we're, as Diane had mentioned, we're writing something brand new. At this point, it's just called That Electronic Thing. We don't really have a working title for it yet. We've got multiple songs in all kinds of different stages of development. We're looking to make, I don't know if it would be another EP, if it would be an album, a collection of songs. In this day and age of single song downloads, we're not really thinking of it that way. We're just looking at putting out, we could put out a single for all I know, but yeah, we're working on something right now.
So I don't know why this question kind of popped in my mind. When you're what kind of style would you say? Let's start there. What kind of style would you say that your music is? What would you classify it?
Just
alt rock.
Yeah, like alt rock, just basic straight up rock.
Yeah, really.
And do you name your song? That's the question that I came up with. Do you name your songs, just something out of the blue that just doesn't make any sense, or do you have like a lyric in your song? What I'm saying? Some people be like, avocado butter. It's like it has nothing to do with the song at all. So, do you name your song after just something out of the blue, or is it a lyric in your song or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's a little of both. I mean, sometimes we'll start out with a really bizarre working title. Okay. And then once the lyrics go on there, it's like, okay, well, this makes a little bit more sense as a title now.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've got some weird titles to songs. One of the songs on our current EP right now is called Worker and Parasite. And it's just a short little track that's at the end. I'll let Steve explain where that came from.
I had come home from work one day and she was working on a keyboard part. It's actually the bridge of another song we have called Up. And she had slowed it down and played it in a minor key, and it sounded really evil. And our first kind of working title for it was Robert Smith's birthday party from the Robert Smith from The Cure, thinking, oh, if he had a birthday party, he wants something that's happy to play. So it was, like really sad and depressing. But we started listening to it, thinking, well, the more we heard it, the more it's like, well, this definitely needs some work. We'd been watching a lot of documentaries at the time, and we both kind of wondered out loud if, maybe a Hitler speech or something like that on top of it would sound appropriate. And we played one alongside of it, and it worked. So we put the two together, and the title comes from a Simpsons cartoon.
Okay. Hey, gotta have influence and direction from somewhere. Why not the Simpsons, right? So I see your shirt, the Black Mariah, right? Yeah. So that, if I'm not mistaken, that is the video.
Yes.
And because I specifically recall that that's the one that y'all want me to review also, right? Is that right? Okay. So like I said, I haven't seen it yet because I've been backlogged. I really put a lot of my time and dedication into reviewing. And so I don't just, scan through stuff real quick because it's unfair to the people that work real hard. And so when I review stuff, I really, set aside a lot of time and try to make sure that I haven't been listening to a whole bunch of music and doing this, that, or schoolwork or this, that, and the other. My mind's just filled, and I don't want to be crass and, be like thinking about schoolwork or something, then I listen to music. It's unfair to you. So that's why I really set my time aside and I write stuff up and I really work hard. So I'm sorry I haven't got to it yet, but it's really because I want to make sure that when I review your music, I give it as much time and that it deserves. So tell me about the Black Mariah. What caused you to create? Where's the name come from? What's the song about? Give me, like I hadn't heard it, possibly some other people that might be watching this, some insight into this.
Basically, again, at the time we wrote it back in the late 90s,
Okay.
we were watching a lot of documentaries. I guess the way the rest of the world watches sports, we watch history. We were watching a lot of documentaries, and we saw one about Thomas Edison.
Okay.
And they have one about his laboratory and his laboratory complex. There was a movie studio there. It was the world's first movie studio. It was called the Black Mariah, and it was kind of the building itself was a big, awkward, janky barn-looking thing, and he had it on a great big turntable. The roof would open up so they could turn it as the sun moved and catch all the natural sunlight that they needed to film the first movie stars. And this was like back in the 1890s. So it's a lot of vaudeville performers. It's acrobats. It's sharpshooters. It's cats boxing. All kinds of different weird things. And I'll let Diane tell you about where all the video clips come from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The video clips that we incorporate into it are actually from the Library of Congress. It's part of their collection. They're all in the public domain now. But these were actually, kind of the world's first movie stars.
Oh.
The first people to be filmed. At the time, the only place that they got shown were on the little arcade Nickelodeons, where you put the coin in and you look into a box where you crank it and everything. And they'd have them in places like, Atlantic City or Coney Island, those kind of places.
Okay.
And, people were amazed because they had never seen moving pictures at that time.
Right.
So the song is about Thomas Edison inventing that and this really bizarre array of people that were the performers.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. That's interesting knowledge to know about this before I listen to it. Okay.
It's a little 4-minute history lesson.
Yeah.
I'm
Schoolhouse Rock.
There you go.
There you go, Schoolhouse Rock. So, okay, so you've already kind of enlightened us a little bit into the video. I'm just going to ask this just for the sake of doing it. Where do you record? Do you record yourself at your house? Do you do it on your computer? How do you do that?
Yeah, we do record here at home with a home studio. And it pretty much, what you're looking at behind us is our living room.
Okay.
And, this is where we're doing a lot of the recording. We have a nice high ceiling in our house, so it's good acoustics and
yeah.
And then both the audio recording as well as all the video editing, everything is done on our home computer.
Nice. It's amazing. I remember growing up, and I know you can relate to this. You didn't have anything like that. I still have. This is my music room, by the way. But back in the corner back there is a small Yamaha 4-track digital recorder. That's about.
We have a Tascam.
Yeah.
and it had this little, I'm trying to see if I can find one laying over here. And they had these little digital discs that would only put about a half hour on it, and you'd have to, way too expensive.
Yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah. So
yeah, our first 4-track was it just recorded to cassette.
yeah, I remember seeing those and was like, I don't have money for that.
Yeah.
So so in our age, we can remember just trying. You had one take. You really didn't have a whole, and then you have to do it over again. You really didn't have a whole lot of really good dubbing. Then you put stuff together on 4 tracks or 3 tracks, and you try to bounce it over to one. Now you can get on a computer and have 128 digital tracks and add, and go back and say, I didn't like the way the amp sounded, and change the amp and all this. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Young people do have no idea what they have. They have no idea.
That's true.
It's unbelievable. So you two are up for a ISA award, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 awards.
Yes, sir.
And Josie Award, right?
For 2 of those also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
okay, so let's start. They could be for the same thing. Well, we'll just start with ISA and let you tell us about what the awards are for and a little bit about that. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one for ISA, we are up for Vocal Duo of the Year and Band Single of the Year for Black Mariah.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, and Josie are they for the same thing or are they different awards?
They're different.
Yeah, the Josie Awards were up for Rock or Metal Duo or Band of the Year.
Oh, wow.
And then also Music Video of the Year for a song we have called In the Blood.
Yeah.
In the Blood. Okay.
Yeah, that's the title track of our EP.
That's quite impressive. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you. We were pretty shocked ourselves.
We still are.
Yeah, the only award I've got was for chemistry in college. That's nothing to do with music, which saddens me with 13 guitars in my. All right, so what inspires you? What is it about music that you're saying? And I know I've been playing music since I was 12, which was 1987. So I've been playing since 87. And I know you guys have been playing probably at least that long. So what inspires you as musicians to have gone through these ages and you continuing on that path? What drives you and what inspires you?
For me, it's such a great release. I mean, if it's whatever emotion you're feeling, I mean, there's a piece of music that fits it, and it takes you away from the troubles of the day. It's just a great release.
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's a very healing type of
catharsis.
Yeah, I mean, it's just almost like a therapy because we had a band in the 90s and we didn't really do that well. I mean, we got a little bit of college radio play and that was pretty much it.
Hey, that's so impressive.
Yeah, but we had gotten away from music actually for quite a few years. And in the past couple of years, we had gone through kind of a rough patch. We had a very rapid succession of losses in our family.
I understand.
And so it was really kind of a rough time. And we found that just starting to work on music, it was kind of pulling us out of that, out of that grieving. And
very much so.
It felt good to go back to it and just to it's kind of like going back to an old friend.
Well, it also was a big help that through a lot of last year I knew I was going to have to get knee replacement surgery, and we knew it was coming all through the year. We knew when it was coming at the end of the year, so we were able to start kind of getting our ducks in a row a little bit at a time. We had gone up in September of last year up to Thomas Edison's laboratory complex in New Jersey and filmed the video. for the Black Mariah right
Oh,
before.
so you went to New Jersey up to
yeah,
the.
yeah, we had to. I mean, we.
Yeah,
That was
there's a
on
replica
site.
of the building at the museum there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so we were actually able to film in front of and inside the replica and around his complex, and that was in September before I had the operation. So when I got my operation at the beginning of November, I spent the whole time on the couch with an ice pack on my knee, cats around me, and I was just working social media links trying to build the band up. She was doing the same thing on the desktop, and we had that downtime. It was like a big 3-month vacation where we could kind of build everything up. It was wonderful.
since you mentioned cats, is there one, Diane, to your left?
There's one, yeah, back over my shoulder here. That's Skittles. Yeah.
I thought I saw one move into the screen for a second. My wife
shows
said,
up in the Going Nowhere video, actually.
Yeah.
Our other cat is in the Black Mariah video.
okay. So I'm just impressed that they have not jumped all over you or done something. I've got.
Yeah, they're actually doing pretty good. We did another video interview about a month or so ago, and we were sitting at our dining room table, and one of the cats, our other cat, Smokey, jumped up on the table. He decided he wanted all kinds of love right at that moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had the camera. We had her cell phone on a tripod like we do now, and he decides to bump into the tripod a lot because, well, that's the thing to do at the time, and it looks like an earthquake's going on.
Oh, yeah. My wife is a huge cat lover, and we've got cats, and that's why the door's shut, because they would. Yeah. So, pardon? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I missed something. My ears and eyes don't work at the same time, so I was reading another question. I apologize.
I hear you.
So, how can fans get access to your material? I mean, do you have a website? Do you have, just tell us where you have all your material.
We do have a website, which
Okay.
is just cranberrymerchants.com. But we are all over the internet.
Yes.
You can find our music on iTunes, on Amazon, Spotify, SoundCloud, pretty much most of the major platforms. We're out.
Like Mandaro.com, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place, and you can find us all over social media too.
Okay.
On Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. And if you contact us through there, you're not contacting management, you're contacting us directly. So
Fantastic. What if people see some of your videos and stuff and say, hey, can you do some video work for us? Would that be something that might be interesting to you?
Maybe.
I guess it would
Hey,
depend on the
just-
situation and the time. Right now we're working on more stuff of our own.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's out of the question in the future.
I'm just curious. You're talking about your background. I'm just trying to see if anybody might be interested. So what's going to happen is we're going to take all your music and all this stuff. So the people watching this should know that the page that they get this video from will have access to your material. I can see a little cat paw just reaching into the screen for a second. That was awesome. That was awesome. It was just one little leg just reached in and just. So here in a second we're going to stop it, but I want to make sure everybody knows that Bandera.com, we're here to help you out. My sole objective is to put a website out. I've got bands that I've reviewed from Spain, Brazil, Ukraine. I've got one that I've already completed that I haven't done the typing up yet. I'm hoping to do it this weekend, maybe. And it's from, Finland. So it's a Finnish band. UK's got so there's a lot of bands all around the world. I think there's one from Japan. I've been waiting to do one of those for a while. That I'll be able to do a review for. So this is, there's bands all over the world that come here. And so oddly enough, I do reviews and I try to give the most critical but objective viewpoint toward music as a whole. So if anybody understands how the reviews work, what I try to do is I listen to your music and I don't criticize the recording because I know how crappy it was in our day to try to record something, and how hard it is sometimes to just try to put something together. I want to listen to your music as a whole. And I think a 3 is where most music sits. If you listen to any music, even the best music out there, a 3 is generally a hit, which is odd. Those 5s is someone like Yngwie Malmsteen as a guitar player. He's a great guitar player, but his songs are kind of crappy, you know? And so it's like, you really don't put great songs together, but you're an awesome guitar player. So most of the great songs will sit around the 3 to 3.5 range. So there's a lot of times I review people and they're like, man, you gave me a 3. I hate you. And it's like, no, I'm telling you, you're in that really good people listen to you market.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to give you a review soon.
Okay.
You know, so what I'll tell to all the viewers, you know, come check out Cranberry Merchants. They're a great couple. They put out some good stuff. They're fun to talk to, and there's a lot of opportunities to listen to some stuff out there that may not be something that you've heard before. It sounds like from what you've talked about that the stuff that y'all are going to be putting out and the stuff that you put out is going to be in this corner area of some really interesting music. And that's not going to be just pure Main Street kind of stuff. You know, you're talking about old school Duran Duran, and you're talking about this Edison and you know, the history, the music history behind it. And that sounds to me like it's going to be something that's going to be not your straight up what everybody else is doing. And that's a great opportunity for people to listen to some new stuff, some stuff that's going to be kind of like, I don't know, did you check out that band Eyeball that I reviewed? Did you see them?
I've heard of them.
They're in Raleigh, North Carolina. You check out their music, and they're like psychedelic, 1970s smashes into 2019 with some acid rock, and it's pretty crazy. And that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy listening to. So guys, you know, check out the Cranberry Merchants. Listen to what they've got to put out. I'm going to put all their stuff on this page. So after you listen to this, you should scroll right down and go to their website. You will have some images from them. We'll have some videos put up. So please check out Cranberry Merchants. Guys, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I thank you for your time, and just good luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bandera.com.